I know you love your work.
Absolutely. I mean, I wake up excited to be able to be one of the people in the world, like Dr. Lintner, like yourself, and you've really you've got a great website yourself, Knud, which we're so
You're
proud of.
the first one who said that.
Yeah, it's
Why
got a great
can't the others say
website.
that?
Well, no, I mean this gentleman here. Again, it's all about sacrifice and the courage that lies in people and your willingness to give of yourself. And he has spent literally thousands of hours translating some of my work into Danish, as well as other books like Douglas Reed. And I'll tell you something out there, and those of you who know this, that the greatest joy in life is not about getting anything. It's really about giving something. Think about it yourself. At Christmas time, it's not the greatest joy you get. It's not that gift you get from your husband or wife or son or daughter. It's when you see their face when you give them something great. And that is, I think, it's part of the nature of our people. Our people are giving people, and I'm glad I can give something. And I've gotten more in return than I could ever imagine. I've lived an exciting life. I've met fantastic, wonderful people, brave, courageous people, honest people, and genuine people. And I feel so privileged to do this work. And yes, it's been hard. I've been sitting in the prisons of the establishment more than one cases because of my outspokenness. I have faced physical threats. I've been physically attacked at least 24 times. I have my life threatened probably thousands of times. I would get 100 emails a day threatening by these radical Zionists and radical communists. So it's sometimes it's an arduous job to do what I do. But it's a great job, and I wouldn't trade my job. It's not financially rewarding, but boy, it's spiritually rewarding. And isn't that what life's about? As long as you have enough to eat, and I do have enough time that I can feel my muscles and exercise and climb the mountains sometimes and swim in the ocean sometimes and feel the love of a beautiful woman, the woman I love in my life, and experience that, then I'm a very satisfied man, and I'm looking forward to the next day. At the same time you're satisfied, you've also got to stay hungry. You've always got to keep an excitement and a joy for life. This is a little different interview. I usually don't talk about these things in interviews, so I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to get to know you as a person, too, because you've done all these hundreds or thousands of interviews, and they tend to become a little bit monotonous in the way that people ask the same things, and you have to answer the same things, because you have been very relentless in your pursuit of this goal. Mm-hmm. Probably more than anybody else I've heard of. Yeah. 40 years. That's quite something.
Well, I could tell this to the young people, and I hope this interview is also going to help your younger viewers. And I meet younger people coming to our movement now, at a fantastic pace. Of course, in my own mind, I can still consider myself like a 16-year-old when I started off, and I think that's the kind of attitude we have to have. And I try to keep myself fit, and that's what I say to a younger person. If you're on fire with this movement, great, you should be, because this is the most important thing you can do with your life. And you out there who are watching this, you know what I'm talking about here. In fact, you live in the most heroic period. All of you go to the movies. All of you have read books. When the time you're a child, you read about heroes. You read about Hercules, and you read about Achilles, and Hector, and you read about the great men at the Alamo, and you read about Leonidas, and you read about Charles Martel, and you see action heroes all the times in the movies, even in the Jewish Hollywood movies, And let me tell you something. Every young man, especially, and women too, though, they can be heroines as well as heroes. And we all really want to live a heroic life. And whether you're a leader or not, you can all live a heroic life, and you can be the things that you dream about. And the satisfaction in that is really great. But I tell young people, young men, that in this cause, be on fire with it. But don't become extreme with it in the sense that you lose the sense of a balance of life. Mm-hmm. Take time to exercise every week. It only takes 2 or 3 hours a week to exercise, but keep your body strong. If you're overweight, get rid of those pounds and be attractive to the world. Because that also helps people understand the ideas you say. If you're underweight and you're a male, build some muscles. So if you're a girl and you look anorexic, get out there and get in that exercise bicycle, eat the proper foods, and be healthy. And when you're healthy, you're also going to be more intelligent, because the health of your physical body affects even the health of your brain. And you're also going to have the stamina and the energy to withstand things. It's a lot of stress during this cause. And it's a lot of depression, in the sense that we who are aware of the threat to our heritage, who are aware of the destruction of our culture, the beauty of our culture, our art forms. Look at the modern architecture, it's so disgusting. Why is it we go to a city and all of us want to look at the old, beautiful buildings? We don't want to look at the new pieces of steel and glass, pieces of automobile accidents, huge automobile accidents in paint, or in steel, or in aluminum. Why is it we go to the museums, and the only way they can get people to look at some of this modern art trash is to put it among the masters, to put it among the art that shows the beauty of the human spirit. Why is it that any movie you watch today for young people, it's about young guys and young girls lying to each other and deceiving each other, and cheating and lying, and being irresponsible with drugs and alcohol and sexual relations, and it's just all of us have got to get this balance of life. So when I talk to a young person, and that's what I'm hoping a lot of people watch this are people already in the movement, and I tell them, keep a balance. Have a good love life. Take time to make sure that your spouse or loved one is cared for. Take time to make your body strong and healthy. Take time to read and educate yourself about the proper foods to eat. And by the way, there's a lot of lies about that in the media, by the globalist media, this like there are on immigration and Israel and the rest of it. And take time to get out in nature. Here in Denmark, you've got the greatest, I guess, the feature of nature, not only your beautiful fields and your open spaces, but the relationship this nation has with the sea. Your ancestors were great seagoers. Many of you are Viking descent, and go out and swim in that cold water of the North Sea. Go out and windsurf or swim. Go walk along the beaches. Get in touch with nature, and that's what this fight is. Really, the fight we have for our heritage is really a fight for the same. It's just understanding the principles of nature. You are part of this nature. You're as much part of nature in the physical world of ecology and animals as say the great whales of the Pacific, or the dolphins, or the Rocky Mountain cougar, you're part of it, and you have those same rights. I mean, I was reading. I'm doing a little research right now. I'm doing a video and some writing on the biodiversity, the United Nations Convention on Biodiversity. Mm-hmm. And this is a very interesting subject, I think. The United Nations actually has a convention on biodiversity. And the principle of biodiversity is that the Earth has a huge and unique diversity of life forms, not only in different species and our geographic separation around the world, but also diversity within species in what we call breeds or races. Mm-hmm. And biodiversity wants to recognize that we've actually had in the world thousands of species that are going extinct. There's a lot of reasons for this, the encroachment of mankind, or their policies, certain globalist farming policies. And they also point out, very interestingly enough, that even the species and the subspecies, the breeds of plants that mankind has developed, and Europeans especially have developed over the last I would say 12,000 years of modern civilization and cultivation, that we have these species have shrunk, and the species, even the natural species, even like livestock, even such as cows, there are thousands of not species, but there are thousands of breeds of cattle, and these and the United Nations Convention is worried that now there are only about 2,000 breeds. Where we had hundreds of breeds of corn, now we have just a few breeds of corn. Everything's getting standardized, globalized. And what they're saying is we're losing all this genetic treasure, this uniqueness that offers these certain food qualities, these certain talents, these certain chemistry. And what a tragedy to be to the world. The United Nations and many private forums now are going to the Arctic. There's not that far actually from these northern climes here. and they're putting seeds, they're capturing seeds of all these species and breeds going extinct, and they're putting them in cold storage so that they could bring them back if we had a nuclear accident or whatever, that just the biodiversity be saved. I'll give you a small example. A lot of people don't realize, race is not a bad word. In fact, if you love life, and if you love diversity in nature, you love the fact that there are different human races.
Obviously.
And you love the fact that these different human races had different characters, often divergent personalities from one another, and different expressions of music and art and literature and culture and civilization and architecture. It's fantastic, right? So the massive immigration, what does it do? It destroys that diversity. I'll give you an example. We talked about this the other day. I've talked about this with Christian and a couple other people here. Dr. Lintner, I should give him the accordance of his proper title. And we were talking about the fact, and I mentioned the fact that there's only a few numbers of panda in the world, and they're trying to preserve this precious life form, right? And if someone came forward and said, well, I tell you what, we should mix these pandas with brown bears, you would think this was a criminal, all right? And yet, when you look at Europe, as the old mantra, a friend of mine, a very fine individual, Dr. Whitaker, said very well, we have a mantra that the world's got a race problem. And they say it's up to Europeans to solve the race problem. And how do you solve the race problem? Well, by making yourself extinct, by bringing massive of immigrants into Europe, mixing with them and destroying the unique diversity of Europeans. The European panda is going extinct. And this is supposed to be good. But isn't it odd that only Europeans are supposed to solve this race problem? They're not talking about bringing Africans or Europeans into China. There's 1.3 billion Chinese in China alone, and they're all Chinese. And nobody's trying to solve the race problem by bringing people into Japan, where they're all Japanese. And nobody's trying to bring the race problem by bringing millions of Europeans into Kenya. No, in fact, they're kind of cheering the fact that whites are getting genocided now in South Africa and getting to the point where they're being driven out by the policies of the government.